Do it.
Are we live yet? It says we're live, Arwen.
Push the
Arwen.
button. You can do it.
Oh, yeah.
We regret nothing. Hashtag.
Nothing.
That causes me emotional damage.
That's why there's a trigger warning before it even starts.
Oh, a big one. Yes. I mean, we got everything. We got offensive words. We've got flashing lights. We've got misogyny. We got everything in that intro.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just about.
Oh, yes.
And hey, y'all, how you doing? And welcome,
everybody.
ADEGA. Welcome, ADEGA.
Welcome,
Hello.
ADEGA. We are so happy that you are here.
I'm
You don't know
regretting
how
my life
much-
choices already.
We got him on ARWENA activated, y'all. We're
Yeah.
gonna pick his brain. You'll be okay, ADEGA. You'll leave unscathed.
We promise. We promise.
Let's see. Let's go through our chat real quick, and then we'll get started on this because I'm here to listen and ask questions. That's what I'm here to do tonight.
Mhm.
And we've got the wrenchiest of wrenches, Chris Purse. Oh, he just oh my goodness.
Oh my. Shots
Sorry,
fired.
Josh, and even sorry, Josh, even here. Oh, Sensei.
Oh, he's
Chris
on
is
both
Yeah.
channels.
First
Oh
and
my.
second.
No, he's
Shady.
first on your channel and my channel.
Oh wow. Okay,
Oh,
well,
goodness.
Chris, if you earn it, you earn it. You know, it is
That's
what
right.
it is. And hey, Leia Rose, how are you?
Hello, Leia.
We've got Snorted Poopus Cuber, and Leia
Hi,
says,
Snorty.
"Hey, ADEGA." We've got Ms. Martin Muses. How are you doing tonight? It was fun streaming
Hello,
you
Ms.
with
Martin Muses.
streaming with you on Loki's this morning.
Streaming you.
you.
Oh my gosh.
Streaming with you.
What did I miss?
That's
I
something
thought
they
I
do in
watched
West
the show.
Hollywood. Don't do that again. No.
Sorry. Oh, it's Friday night.
Gives-
I've got 2 brain cells left. It is what it
Gives
is.
a whole new meaning to don't piss on me and call it rain.
Yes, it does. And hey, Jester.
Hello, my love.
Oh, and Castle sliding in saying, not first.
Not first.
He is like,
Cass-
I have arrived when I have arrived, damn it. And that's all that's important. So, hey, Castle. All right,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I got everyone. Oh, wait. Oh, here we go. Boosh.
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 Boo-
Yes.
I started that too, huh? Boosh. Boosh.
Boo.
You did.
He's warning me against you ladies. Doesn't want me to turn into a
gosh.
villain hanging out with you.
late.
Good luck
Too
with
late.
that. At least on my end, it won't happen. But on Arlena's end, hey, she is a Sith. So
Well, there is the
Yes.
part that breaks you mentally, and then the part rebuilds you up into a deviant, parasitic person.
Good.
So we have the part that laughs you into insanity, and the other part that gently leads you down into the self-destructive world.
God.
Yes. I like it.
See, she loves it.
Oh my God. Dead. We're like, what is it that
I know how they brainwash people.
Sturm and Drum or whatever, Sturm and Drang? I don't know. Is that us? that
Lies. All lies.
I think it's a German phrase. It's like storm and fever or something. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Not a
Sturm
clue.
and Drang. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not pronouncing it right. Anyway, that's us, I guess. Hey, deranged lunatic, aka.
KDL. Oh, my.
Oh, and hey, I don't like naggers. Nag. Hello.
Hello.
And yet,
Oh my
he's
gosh.
here.
And
Yeah.
yet he's here. Hey,
And
Phil
Phil
McCracken.
McCracken.
How are you
Oh
doing? It's
my
good to see you.
gosh.
Thank you. What Snorty said? Sturm and Drang or Drang or whatever.
Sturm und Drang.
It's used for I took a musical theory class, and it's also used to describe a mood, and it's a very moody mood. I mean, what it sounds like is what it is. And it's also anyway, I don't know what the hell. I don't know what I'm saying.
Jester said, nailed it, ADEGA. Oh my gosh.
What do you say?
I have backup from someone who
oh.
knows.
Hey, Claude. We got
Hey,
Claude
Claude.
here tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, Claude.
All right. I think we're caught up. So
All right.
tonight, y'all, Arlena, take it away.
Well, we are going to be talking masks and mask mandates. And are they good? Are they bad? What is the deal with the masks? So,
Yes.
let me make sure
I'm their emotional support animal because they already know the answer.
No. We need the info from the doctor.
Yeah, we're gonna pick ADEGA's brain tonight.
So, this comes from the National Library of Medicine.
Okay.
And it says it was April 18th of this year, measuring the quantity. I almost said quality. Quantity of harmful volatile organic compounds inhaled through masks. An increase in the concentration of environmental particulate matter and the spread of the COVID-19 virus has dramatically increased our time spent wearing masks. If harmful chemicals are released from these masks, there may be harmful effects on human health. In this study, the concentration of VOCs, volatile organic compounds, emitted from some commonly used masks as assessed quantitatively and quantitatively under diverse conditions, including free mask material types, time between opening the product and wearing it, and the temperature. All of this stuff, I have no clue what any of it means.
I'm
I'm
glazing
assuming
over.
that all of these are okay. In these kinds of masks, the KF94, which is what a lot of people ended up getting because there were no N95s, because those are supposed to be for the medical field and certain other fields. Am I correct in that, ADEGA? The N95?
Supposed to be, but more often than not, almost all of this is just emotional support.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
We can get into that later, but because the originally masks were not designed to protect you, but for surgery when there is no barrier between the physician and the patient when they have open wounds where things can get in. Has nothing to do with inhaling or any of that other stuff. It's all a bunch of hooey.
That's what I always thought.
Yeah.
That's what I always thought.
Well,
Like,
think about it.
like
If you go and
barrier
I'm
of
jumping,
protection.
right? I'm jumping into the end segment before we even begin. But when you're in a virology lab, you are in a full suit with an external air
Yeah.
hose. That is the only way. All of this is a bunch of joke just to make you comply.
Oh
It
my
is.
God, you're right. And these assholes want
It
us to
really
think
is.
that a mask is going to help when they're over there
Yeah.
from head to toe looking like beekeepers.
Mhm.
That's
And
what
when they
they
look out,
wear.
well, here's the thing is when they look out and they see people wearing masks, they're seeing people who will comply to whatever they tell them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I don't know why. That just struck me as like, wait a minute.
That's why I
Yeah.
never wore one.
Mhm.
Well, actually, I
Yeah.
did wear one. It was a leather mask. It was steampunk, and it had two little gears on it that looked like they were breathers, but they were wide open. And I fastened. It was made out of leather. I hand stitched it all by myself, and I just went out to look like a
Nice.
goofball and embarrass people. But no, people looked
That's
at me odd, and I go score.
yeah. And you know, if it does, it does, Boosh. I ain't concerned about that.
Yeah. So, in another article from the Daily Mail, I think this is a UK thing. Um, mask study published by the National Institute of Health suggests N95 COVID masks may expose wearers to dangerous levels of toxic compounds linked to seizures and cancers. So, yet another study linking harmful chemicals that are in these masks that you're breathing in. And one thing that people don't talk about much is if the and this is the thing that got me is why weren't more doctors and nurses speaking up about different things such as, well, yeah, aside from money, but there has to be some out there that don't really care about the money more so than
It's their
actual
license.
yeah.
I retired. I didn't have to worry about losing my license. It's all about their license. If you're in a hospital, they kick you out. You cannot get your license because the board sees, well, this hospital, who is paying the board a lot of money, said you're out and you lose your license to work in that state and they have to move. It's as pure
Yeah,
simple as that. That's what it is.
it's
Is it
crazy.
true that hospitals were taking money, basically? I don't know
Still
if it
are.
was grant money, but taking money to push masks, to push the shot, to push.
Still are.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, if they were doing that, if you we'll never know, because if you could withdraw that money aspect, it would be very interesting to see how hospitals genuinely responded purely from a position of medicine and the Hippocratic Oath. You know, how would you respond as head of the hospital and all your doctors and nurses and everyone if you were faced, okay, government wants you to do this and you're not getting shit for doing it? Would
The
you be
problem
like,
runs pretty.
okay, or would you stand up and say, this goes against what we know in modern medicine? I don't know. What would you do?
That's part of it, because the problem doesn't necessarily stem from that as much as it is and some of you probably heard me talking about this a couple of days ago, where there are basically three philosophies of how the human works. And one is allopathic, which is the medical profession, where the body's stupid, intervene or you die, whether it be medication or what have you. Then there's the homeopaths, where the body's fairly smart, needs a little insult here and there to make it respond better. And then there's the natural path, which I'm of, where the body's brilliant. You just got to remove the stuff that's in the way. Well, the whole thing about the allopathic and the medical, they're trained for years, almost a century worth of being told that the body is stupid and you are the line of defense. And in that training, they are taught things that aren't correct for health. You've heard story after story after story, malpractice after malpractice, real ones, not the fake ones. Medication interactions, misdiagnosis, surgery's gone bad, people dying in the hospital, all these type of things.
Yeah.
A lot of it is they just don't know any better because they never learned any better. And a lot of the research that comes out, they don't have the time to read it. And I don't fault them for that, because if you're working in a hospital, sometimes their load is such that they don't have the opportunity to go and investigate the things except the stuff that they're being fed. So it's more difficult than just the hospital saying having the mandates removed. It's indoctrinated into the whole system that the human body is dumb as a box of rocks. And if it gets insulted, you got to do everything in your power to change that. And it usually starts with medication. If the medications don't work, you start doing exploratory surgery or removing body parts. That's just how it is. Sometimes removing body parts means using radiation or what have you. But ideally, and this is what it was a big problem when the last thing went through, is originally for respiratory things. Any of you've had asthma or various different stuff will know that you get a breathing device, not something you lay down and suck in things, but you get an inhaling medication or something, and you're
Mhm.
usually told to walk and exercise your lungs. It went completely opposite of that by mandate to put these people in bed on their backs, which is the worst thing for them to do.
Mhm.
So if you took that part out, maybe if they stuck with the original treatments for any type of pneumonia or air restriction or pulmonary type of disease, the results would have been a lot better. Plus,
Mhm.
without having all the financial benefits of misdiagnosing or adding a diagnostic code legally, because someone would pass away. Well, their kid had COVID, so they assumed they were exposed and we're going to write it down as this was the cause of death. You take those things
Mhm.
out, the financial and that, it would have been a lot better response. And masks would never not been a part of it.
Yeah. Everything that I've looked at and I've
Fix my
seen
camera,
that
sorry.
talk about masks, it's just unbelievable. And most of us, for the majority of us, we complied because this was new. It was really scary. We didn't know better. Now we do.
Yeah.
We know better now. We know that the mask study after study after study comes out and verifies to us that masks don't actually work. And one of the things that it talks about is the only one that may work the best is the N95, which I know from working in the construction industry, you are supposed to be fit tested for to make sure that you are wearing it properly and that there is a good seal around it and that
But even still,
nothing
it's
can get in and out.
we're dealing with viruses which stick to skin, which stick to hair,
Yeah. And
anything like
That's
that.
my
And
thing.
granted
Like,
the half
Yeah.
ew.
life of these things will, if it's exposed without being in a moist environment, some of them won't survive very long. But there is a length of time where it doesn't matter what you're wearing. That's why the full suit is the only way.
If they're gonna
The
get on you,
only
they're gonna
Mhm.
get on
only recommend yeah, the only mainstream recommendation that was almost reasonable was, the social distancing. If you wanted it to be correct, you would have had to have been 30 feet away. So that I would say, okay, that would work, but no one's going to go to a grocery store where you can't be in the same room with somebody
Oh,
else.
I hear you.
Um,
Exactly. Mhm.
so no. Bush had a
Yeah.
question. You don't mind me jumping in? Sorry, I'm going to be rude and
No,
interrupt
not
you
at
guys.
all.
No, right ahead.
Go
Let's see,
ahead.
where was
I
it?
If a
like
patient comes in sick, fever, trouble breathing, it's jumping up, achy heart palpitations, and there are over a dozen medical treatments proven to help, is it malpractice to send the patient home without treatment? Yeah, it could be very much so. I got stories about that because, well, I don't do that type of stuff, but I've had experience where I've had patients where I sent them in for things and they said, "Oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about." Send them home and they die, and then I'd have to do depositions and things afterwards. To these
Jeez.
families
Yeah.
are suing the bejeebies out of the hospitals because they didn't do their duty simply because it came from me and not from one of the people in their hospital.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, that is that can there's precedent for it. To what degree depends on the condition. It depends on the patient's response, all kinds of different things. But yeah, it's possible. Yeah,
Yeah.
very possible.
Well, and another thing with the whole masks is they were telling people use make your own masks out of cloth and all this stuff and use the disposable
Yes.
masks. Well, what they're failing to say is if you want these things to be any type of effective, you need to wash those masks every time you use them. And that means if you put it on and eat lunch, you need to wash it while you're eating lunch. And if you're going to use the disposable ones, as soon as you touch it, it's no longer any good. You need to throw it away and put another one on. Touch in any kind of
God.
way, shape, or form, you need to throw it away and put another one on. And you think about, a lot of times people don't think about how many times they touch their face a day.
Okay, you know why I'm laughing because hearing you say that, it's like, oh my god, it's so true. But who was it that came up with the mask? And it had a very brief fling in the world of masks before it went the way of the dodo bird. The one with the slits, so you could sit there and eat and
Oh my
still wear
gosh.
your mask.
Yeah,
I
that is
think
crazy.
about that and I'm like,
Okay,
that is so stupid. Oh
now
my god.
I'm gonna reason with you guys here. All a whole thing about the
Okay.
mask thing. Okay,
All right.
I
Fair
Mhm.
enough.
told you allopathic, naturopathic, homeopathic. Right? When you take the allopathic, the body's stupid. Put on a mask. Naturopathic and homeopathic make the body work better. It will
Mhm.
resist far better than anything you put on. It's what you put in. So, yeah, it's just the whole idea of them is it's better to build the body up than to put something that's
Yeah.
toxic in front of your face, because you're going to be breathing all the chemicals they use to make the cloth, all of the plastics around it that hold it in, anything that has something that your body isn't normally exposed to in nature, which could possibly cause it to weaken. And you're reducing your oxygen content, which is one of the worst things you ever want to do in a flu season.
Mhm.
That's why I always tell people you don't want bed rest when you're sick. You want to get up and get into the yard and do yard work. You feel like crap, but
Mhm.
you do it anyway because you'll get over it quicker. So the whole philosophy,
Um,
from a not because of a political thing, not because of how much it protects you, but how much your body responds better to what you put in as opposed to what you put out.
Mhm.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and it really doesn't. And then when you look at studies that came from like what was it? What Nordic country was it that was like, "Nah, we're just going to continue
It's
normal
one of those guys.
operations." Norway, Sweden, Finland, one of those.
It was Norway, I
Um
think.
Scandinavia, somewhere in
one of
Scandinavia.
those,
Pretty
one
sure
of
it was
those.
Norway.
Yeah. They said, "No, we're not going to do all the stuff that the rest of the world is doing. We're just going to go about our normal days." Now, if you are elderly, we know that you're more susceptible to this. So you should really take more precautions than a young person. Or if you're already sick and you have some type
If you're
of disorder,
compromised. Yeah, I mean,
then you
fair.
should take more precautions, which is what we were learning as we went along. For whatever reason, this thing affected elderly more, and people who had certain immune deficiency
Hmm.
problems and other things, underlying conditions, obesity, heart issues, stuff like that. Um,
Just
we
like any
found
flu.
out, yeah, that they were more susceptible to it than kids and people in their 20s.
Hmm.
And that's why they said, "Ah, we're just going to do this, but you guys, take your precautions." And come to find out, their numbers were no different than any other country that locked down, that made you wear masks, that destroyed their economy for this stuff. The numbers were no different. Matter of fact, I did my own research because I was like, I need to find this out. This needs to make sense to me. So what I did is I took, okay, Chris Persia said it was Norway. So I went and I looked at Norway's population, and then I picked a couple of states that had basically the same population. The two states that had around about the same population was Minnesota and Georgia, and the numbers were practically identical.
Wow.
So locking down and masking made no difference. No difference at all when you actually took the time to look at the numbers. And I'm pretty sure that the numbers are still out there. You guys go out there and do your own research. Uh, Compare Norway and just search any state that has a comparable population and look at the numbers. And it baffled me because I'm like,
Hmm.
we're doing all of this stuff, locking down, wearing these stupid ass masks, which half the time I didn't wear because they irritate the hell out of me. So I didn't comply to begin with. I felt like if I'm going to get sick, I'm going to get sick. And guess what? Eventually, I did get sick, and I've had the flu be worse. The only
Hmm.
lingering effect that I had was a headache. That
Yeah.
was it.
Well,
And
some people had
now,
some taste issues and scent issues,
yeah,
but
Mhm.
it
people had
depends
different
on the
issues.
virus. Some will have different things, and over time you get over it.
Yeah, and but that's the thing too is I have confidence, like you were saying, Adega. I have confidence that my body is smart. It's not just my brain; it's my body too.
Mhm.
And that when I got sick with this, my body now has this virus within it that it knows how to fight off. Yeah, I might get some type of variant that's different down the road, but my body is still going to be able to adapt to it and fight it off. And to me, that's far superior than any jab that you could get that is questionable.
Mhm.
And that's why I never got the jab. It wasn't because I was just bucking the
Pure
system
blood.
and I'm anti-vax or whatever. It's not that at all. It's for me personally, there was not enough evidence to prove to me that this thing worked.
Right.
Again,
Right.
like I said yesterday, y'all pretend like I'm from Missouri. I'm not, but y'all pretend like I'm from Missouri because I'm going to tell you to show me. I want to see the evidence. I want to see the numbers. It needs to make sense to me before I go along with it. Smallpox vaccines, polio vaccines, they make sense because there's enough proof there. There's enough science there that shows me they helped with the prevention of those diseases.
You ever
Mhm.
hear of amyelinating or just spinal meningitis? Guess what that
Yes.
is? It's a renamed
What?
polio.
Really?
It
I
never went,
did
Wow.
not know that.
I
I
didn't
did
either.
not know
never
that.
went away.
Mm,
Well, okay, Adega, let me ask you something then. Since we're talking about the science, and the science shows that no, masks do not work, they do not achieve the results that you want them to achieve. Why then is there so much chatter about masks coming back?
Compliance. It has nothing to do with healthcare.
it's
But
There
control.
is
even
no
though
in
the
this
information
regard
is
there is
out there now,
in
even though
this regard there
everybody,
is no separation between politics and healthcare. None.
so how are they
Not with
expect
this.
that's going to fly though? That's
Because there's
they,
gullible people everywhere.
but they may have a hell of a lot more pushback on them now than they ever did.
Oh, they will. They will.
Because
But
Mm-hmm.
now
there's an
more
adage.
people know what masks really do and do not do.
Mm-hmm.
There's an adage, and I know some say Abraham Lincoln. I don't know its original provenance, but you can fool some of the people some of the time. You can fool all the people some of the time, or you can fool some of the people all the time. Some of the people all the time, all the people some of the
Some
time.
of the
You
time.
can't, yeah, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Um, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Either way, there
Yeah.
are more people that understand. The
Mm-hmm.
inconsistencies come out, the statistics, all of the various different things, the real stuff, statistics. It just depends on who's presenting them. But
Mm-hmm.
common sense is really breaking through. You're always going to have someone who buys into it and believes it and will go along with it. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's the stubborn cuss. If you go into the Bible, what was it? The Hebrews, when it's a story, but it
Yeah.
applies to us today. When they were bitten
Very,
by a snake, all they had to do was look at this serpent on a staff, and there was a lot of them that were so stubborn that wouldn't do it, and they died. This story applies.
Yeah.
Sometimes reality stares you in the face, and all you have to do is accept what is real and not what you're being told is real.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's people just going. I still see people now wearing masks, and some people never stopped wearing masks. And because to me it's so ridiculous. If I'm like in a store and I walk by them or something, I tell them, "Hey, looks like you're sick. Thanks for not making me sick." I'll just be a
Yeah.
smart ass because that's how I am. I'm just a smart ass bitch. But but we
Yeah.
know that that's the whole thing about it. They tell you if you're sick, then you should wear a mask because it will help not get other people sick.
Mm-hmm.
And to a degree, that's proven, but not completely. But if you're not sick, there's no reason for you to be wearing a mask other than to make your own self sick with all the toxins and reducing your oxygen flow. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, really, that's all it's going to do.
So is this basically memes is summing it up? Is that the base of the mass discourse,
I don't know
or
if
is
it
there
is or
more
it
to it
isn't.
than that?
I don't know if it is or it isn't. I just hear that people say you got to wear it. I've heard some doctors say some really ridiculous, stupid things about it.
Yeah.
Um, it's it's so small, and masks are so vulnerable and inefficient that the
Yes.
best course, instead of buying a box of masks to wear around, is to buy cheap vitamin D3 and a good expensive zinc and vitamin C. Vitamin D you can get as cheap as you want and it works. D3.
Mm-hmm.
Vitamin C, you have to get it in a dark or black bottle, and it doesn't last very long. If you buy a bottle that has a 30-day supply, imagine if you didn't use it 6 months, you're gonna have to throw it out and get something else. Zinc, you want something that your body can absorb pretty quick, but vitamin D is really cheap. If you have those three in your system, your body is primed to fight. Even if you're sick, someone like me, I went out and I didn't wear a mask. You guys know, those of you who know me for a while, I never
Mm-hmm.
wore a mask. You'd ask Loki. I took
Yeah.
when they came and visited. We went to a restaurant. They're wearing masks or trying not to. You know, they're trying to be polite, and I didn't. I just walked in. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
so with those in your system, it primes your body to fight whatever comes in. And I prefer my body to take it on as quickly as possible, the right way, with my body being as strong as possible, so that when I do
Mm-hmm.
get it, the symptoms are less. And I got it,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a kick in the butt, but I've had worse flus. And when I
Yeah.
got it, I went out in the yard and I did yard work. I did laundry. I cooked. I did everything, even though my head was spinning and says you don't want to do it. But I did
Mm-hmm.
it anyway. And I stayed on my feet and breathed. And like I said, even though my immune system's compromised, as you guys know, multiple myeloma, it's the IgA, it's part of the immune system itself that is screwed up. And
Mm-hmm.
yet I fought it off because I was taking my vitamin D3 and zinc and a good vitamin C. And that's
Mm-hmm.
that. Instead of the nations being locked down, they should have had all of these different pharmacies dispensing this stuff. Just mass
Mm-hmm.
produce it, and it would have been
Yeah.
totally different. Totally different.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that makes sense.
And
You know,
Big Pharma could
I,
have made all kinds of money off of it. So.
Ivor and hydrochloro, they both work.
Mm-hmm.
They are cheap. And I've heard now that some of the pharmaceuticals are charging $300 for it, where it should only be a $5 prescription,
Mm-hmm.
because they're
Yeah.
still in the
Yeah.
mindset.
I was hearing
Still in the
something
mindset.
about that today. There was like a pill
Yeah.
that was like freaking 80 cents at the time, and now that it's being distributed, it's like hundreds of dollars. It's some
Yep.
ridiculous markup.
Tell you who's the evil ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
Like,
pharmaceuticals.
damn, are y'all really doing that?
Yep.
It just kind
They're
of
horrible
opens your
people.
eyes. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, wow.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. Just the simple things you can do to protect yourself from getting sick. And after the whole thing started, yeah, we were all scared. Most of us were scared because we didn't know. We really legit didn't know. But then when it became like it's kind of more of a flu, it's like, okay, well, we get the flu every single year. A lot of us don't get the flu shot. I never get a flu shot. I got a flu shot twice in my life. Both times I ended up with pneumonia when I was in the Marine Corps. So I said, I'm never going to take another flu shot. They said that there was no direct correlation, but it sure is funny. I never had pneumonia before. And within weeks after within a week the first time and a couple of weeks the second time, I had pneumonia, which I'd never had in my life. And
Hmm.
since I've not taken it anymore, I've not had pneumonia again. So go figure. No direct correlation, my ass.
Yeah.
I've seen too many. You guys know I was in practice for years, and there are those who would listen and those who would listen to other sources. And I could tell you tragedies, serious tragedies. It just,
Mhm.
if any of you, I would say it's about 70-80% accurate. If you got Tubi and you want to watch a show called Shots, it'll help you understand a little bit more.
Mhm.
But don't expect to go to bed after watching that. It'll freak you out.
All right, here's
Um,
something I'm interested in. Speaking of shots, I would be interested to know.
Hold on, I gotta adjust the sound. Just protecting
Okay.
my ears.
I'm not gonna shout. I'm gonna talk soft. Don't be
We're too serious. I had to
rude.
bring something up.
Don't be rude. No, but this is
Yep, there it
this
is.
is kind of a yeah, I know. I'm sorry. See, get me all excited. This is kind of a morbid question. That's why I'm trying to be careful and respectful the way I ask it. I would be interested in the statistics between how many people have died versus the shot, died of the shot versus, or a complication after taking the shot versus COVID itself. It would just, now that the shot has been out there for quite a while, what are percentages are we looking at? I don't know why
You're not going to
that
get an accurate answer to that. There's no way. There's a lot of
yeah.
anecdotal. There's a lot of firsthand information. But
Okay.
when that information gets into the system and it's automatically altered, you're not going to get, even if you want it, you're not going to get an honest answer. There's
Yeah.
no way.
That
It's all
makes
been
sense.
altered. There are trillions of dollars involved in this. And that trillions buys an awful lot of influence and an awful lot of computer programs that automatically alter information coming from
Mhm.
hospitals, coming from EMTs, coming from all over places. And you're
Mhm.
not going to get an honest answer. So there's no way of knowing. But you can
Yeah.
talk around and ask people.
Mhm.
There was times when you could sit in front of certain busy pharmacies. Kid you not. You can go and watch when the crowds are going to get the shots and watch how many times the ambulances would show up and how many people hit the floor.
Wow.
Not a joke. Not a joke. I wish it was.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Hey, Time
Sheesh.
Prophet.
And that Arwen and I have I've talked to Arwen and Jester about this, but no one will ever convince me otherwise. My dad had cancer, um, and he was in complete remission for almost 10 years. And he complied and got all of those jabs, and he's no longer with us. And I am convinced that his cancer came back with a vengeance because of those.
The timing is interesting
Yeah.
to me.
He was
I'm sorry. I have heard that an awful lot. I'm very sorry. I've
yeah.
heard that story many, many times.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry.
And nothing that anyone in the medical community will ever be able to tell me to convince me otherwise.
Right. And there
And
are
see, when
some
those,
people that will line up and get it regardless of how much you show them this stuff.
And
yeah,
that's my mother. My mother is doing that. She is just head gung ho into believing everything that's being put out there. And I told her, I said, "Mom, you're such a follower. You're such a sheep. You know, why don't you do your own research?" Because she was riding my behind on not getting it and not making
There's
my kids get it.
there is something with the boomer class that unfortunately there was a prestige given to the medical profession where they are infallible,
Yeah.
where their word is law, or in a lot of ways nowadays is far better because people will question.
uh,
Unfortunately, they go to places like WebMD where you're going to get the distortion there as whereas there,
Exactly.
anywhere else. You have to
yeah,
go to multiple sources, and unfortunately, a lot of them you can't find. And I've known a few of the really good public speaking doctors who tell you how to get things well, who are no longer with us, that have died of mysterious car accidents or uh, various different things. And I'm
Mhm.
not pulling your leg. in some regards, this is a dangerous profession when you tell the truth, because
Yeah.
Wow.
people I have seen are no longer with us because they were telling the truth.
Yeah.
And again, that trillions of dollars buys a lot of influence, even with
Yeah.
people who like to do nefarious things in the quiet of the night to people who are unsuspecting.
And
Damn.
that's also why a lot of the medical professionals, whether they be doctors, nurses, or what have you, when they were going on Facebook and Twitter and all these and YouTube and stuff and saying, "Hey, this is what we know. This is the truth. This is A, B, C, and D," and they were giving us good information that we needed, they were automatically suspended and kicked off the platform.
Oh, Dave, Bob, you're one of the smart ones.
You are. My
Comes with
mother,
being a rooster.
unfortunately, is not.
Dave Bob, you're an entity all unto yourself, and you know
You
it.
are.
You're not like us other mere mortals. You don't get caught up in any of that mess.
Mhm. Mhm.
Wow, that's
Yeah. And and it also goes to not even just my dad. Um my cousin, her best friend of I mean, they were very close. They were so close that he gave her his credit card to use whenever she needed it. They were like brother and sister. And he was such a good guy. And he had some type of blockage in his rectum, and he was gay, he was married, but they attempted to say that it was because he was gay that he had that blockage at first. And then they were like, "No, no, no, you have cancer." Well, this guy was also a doctor, by the way, an ER doctor, and he was
mhm.
like, "I haven't gotten any tests done. How do you know I have cancer?" And they're like, "Well, that's just what we suspect." Mind you, this is all in California as well. And their healthcare system is really screwy over there because you
Go
have to go,
Kaiser.
yeah, you have to go through the treatments, through the process, through everything before you can actually get a diagnosis. So they were saying that he had cancer without
Well,
actually, hold on, without actually diagnosing him with it. They wanted him to go through all the treatments and then
what?
finally diagnose him whether he actually had cancer or not. But before they would do any of it, he had to get the jab. So he was at the end of his rope
Wow.
because he couldn't use the bathroom because there was a blockage, a severe blockage. And because he was an ER doctor, he knew, like you, Adega, he knew what homeopathic and natural medications to take to help. And they did help. He lived a year and a half after he started having these issues, which I think is pretty daggone good considering he couldn't use the bathroom like a normal person. Um,
Yeah.
within 2 weeks
Yep.
of him getting that jab, he passed away. And
I mean,
they said it was because of cancer. Yet even when he had passed away, they didn't do an actual test to see if he truly had cancer. So yeah, this is the crazy stuff.
s- so that's
You
not even
know
a diagnosis. That's a he could have not. But
exactly.
we're gonna say it's this because we gave him a jab, so we just won't
And
say
they
anything.
wouldn't
What the
even,
hell?
yeah, they wouldn't even operate to remove the what or to do, what is it, exploratory to see if it was like a tumor or something, and remove it and take it out and then test it. No, he had to go through all this stuff first.
They could have done an MRI and
Yeah.
figured that out real easy if
Yeah,
there
and
was something there.
they wouldn't do any of that. They would not do any of that. They told him he had to get the jab and he had to start chemo. And finally he had just had enough and he was like, "Fine, I'll do whatever y'all want. I'm tired of fighting this. I'm tired of being in constant pain." 2 weeks after the jab, he passed away.
Wow. You hear a lot of stories about that. That's why it would be
Yeah.
interesting to see if they told the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And they could even say, you know, X problem with jab complications. They wouldn't have to just say, oh, because of the jab. They could give a true statement, a true account of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be interesting to see how that lines up. You know,
Yeah.
it would be interesting to see the ages. Is it all ages?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a particular age set? Or is
Well,
it indiscreet? You know, because it seems to me that the jab, people who get sick and die or get whatever, it's indiscriminatory, unlike COVID, which hits more demographics easier or quicker. You know what I mean?
well, the
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 jab
jab
tends to
actually the
gets
younger
men
males.
more than women,
Yeah.
and it gets younger men more, and it gets black
Okay,
men
so there
the
are
most.
statistics on that
Yes.
we know
Oh
of.
yeah.
Okay, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was curious about to see. Okay,
You guys want to hear something that's not real? Well, it's kind of related, but it doesn't have to deal with pokes.
go for it.
It was in the 80s, I believe. Yeah, the healthcare system in Israel was going through a rough time, so all the doctors went on strike for a long
Mm-hmm.
time. Interesting thing at the reason why the strike was settled. Who settled it? It was the morticians. They petitioned the government because no one was dying. They were going out of business. True fact.
What?
Because no one was going to the hospitals, no one was receiving treatments, no one was getting poked and prodded and all this other stuff, and no one was dying. True.
Yeah, it's amazing to
Oh
think
my
about
God, that
how
blows my
far we've
mind. Yeah.
come, how far we've come in society with the knowledge that we have medically about our bodies and things that can actually help compared to Henry VIII's time.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think how far we've come, but really, truly, have we come that far? You know?
There's so much good information out there. It's the application, not necessarily the discovery. That's where
Mm-hmm.
our problem is the application of it. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have a problem with working with most medical doctors. I don't have a problem working with a lot of osteopaths. Medical doctors, I'm really difficult with most of them. They don't like seeing me coming. I've made, well, I got stories, but I won't get into it. But it's the application, not the, because if you get an arm cut off, there's some brilliant surgeons who can put that back on and even the nerves will come back. There's some
Unbelievable.
phenomenal things that they do.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of stupid stuff. So it's the application. And on this
Yeah.
question, yeah, actually they are pretty good. Some of them are the neti pots, or there's the flush that goes side to side. I've never used
Mm-hmm.
one, but
I've
everyone
used a
that
neti pot.
any patient that I've seen that has used them properly have had phenomenal results with them. So if you can stand it, go for it. It's not a thing that I have aversion to. It's not a thing that I have attracted to. It's just something I've never tried myself personally, but I've never heard of anyone having a bad results from it. They've all been good.
Yeah, I use a neti pot during allergy season because I have really bad allergies. And it helps immensely. Immensely.
That's what they say.
Yep.
Nice.
Um, yeah, it's
Another good thing for allergies is local wild honey.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay.
See, Arwen, see, we
Oh my
told you,
God. All right,
told you,
ADEGA.
we told you, we told
Dying.
you, we told you, we told you.
Okay.
Adega, if you knew how many times me and Mark told Arwen to get some wild honey,
Has to be local.
local honey,
Oh my God, ADEGA,
you would
they
just,
keep
oh my
pimping
God.
out this wild local honey to me. Every time I get allergies, they're like,
Doctor's orders.
go wild local honey. And I'm like, what the
Yes.
hell?
And well,
Yeah.
think about it. Who is out in the environment more than anything, being exposed and dealing with and processing all these allergens that people are having problems with? The bees. They bring it to
True.
their hive. It's simple processing. It's not cooked or none of that stuff. And it has the enzymes in it that breaks down the allergens. You take that stuff, it helps your body deal with it. You take a tablespoon or a teaspoon, depending on how bad, severe it is, anytime you have symptoms, and it goes away. Don't put it in your tea where it's going to be too hot. Just straight up enjoy a little bit of honey on a cracker or something. Mix it with a little bit of peanut butter if you like.
Ooh, that does
Local,
sound good.
wild honey.
Mhm.
There are added benefits, but not most people don't like to do this. But if you can get the actual honeycomb and you bite it and you chew with the wax, that works even
Mhm.
better. But it's wax. You're putting wax on your teeth. Some people it bothers them. When I was a kid, my dad had bees, and I'd go out there and work with bees without any equipment on, just because I didn't have any fear, and they never stung me. I was a little kid; they didn't care. I'd go grab all the drones and stuff. So I got used to honey, got used to chewing honeycomb. But yeah, it does work. It just, if it has anywhere marked on it pasteurized, it's not going to help you. Go to a farmer's market or something where they just pulled it straight out of the extractor, and
Mhm.
maybe they filtered it a little bit, which is fine. Local raw honey works. It does
Yep.
work.
Okay, well,
Yep.
y'all have to understand when they're asking me if I have a damn monastery nearby, because monasteries are known to sell. I'm like, what
Mortuary?
monastery? Was
Oh,
Arlena, was either you or Margaret? Might have even been Daryl.
Might
Don't
have
you have
been
a
Mark or Daryl.
monastery nearby? I'm like,
Because I asked if you had
what?
like a farmer's market.
Yeah, okay, you did ask about the farmers market. I'm just
well,
like, y'all,
monastery,
they
you might
keep,
get some good rum cake there too. Some
yeah, they keep
Mm,
pimping
rum
out this
spiced up fruit
honey.
cake.
All right,
yeah.
fine, I'll give it a try.
Oh yeah. Told you.
Doctor's orders.
Although Irate's got a good point. He's not eating bug vomit.
It's
Why'd
not.
you have to
It's
call it
not.
that, Irate?
It's not bug vomit. That's not what honey is.
What about royal jelly? Oh, I don't
Royal
know.
jelly is a little different.
I mean, it's as
It's
good as monastery.
royal jelly. I have had years ago read some stuff on it. Um, it has some boosts in different metabolic processes and some immune. It doesn't work the same as what raw honey would, but I've heard good things of it. I just have to me, it's not anything about taking it as much as it is depriving them of having another queen. Oh, just something in my head.
Wait. Is it like crushed bee? Crushed queen?
No. When you make honey,
Oh my
honey is for the bees in the winter.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
honey
God.
they helps them survive the winter, or when they need to travel or what have you. It's for emergencies. It's their food storage.
Okay.
Royal jelly is a certain specific substance that they make when their queen is getting old or the hive needs to split. They'll give it to one of the bee larvae, and it changes a regular bee into a queen bee.
Hmm.
Okay, so if you take that away,
That's why they call it royal jelly. Yeah, you take it away, there won't be another queen.
the
They'll
bee's
always
staying
make
in
more, when they need
outie,
it.
not in any.
It
Okay.
just it's a mental thing. Has nothing to
Yeah.
do with application to human body, because there's some documented cases where it does some really good stuff for you, but
And it's not
I
hurting
haven't
the
got into it.
bees. It's not hurting the bees. It's just
No, you're just preventing another queen from being born. They'll make more, and there'll be another queen that comes around.
okay. All right.
Hmm.
I think the most miraculous thing on the planet next to human beings and dogs is bees.
And cats.
I like cats. Don't get me wrong. I love cats, but I've had cats my whole life, but there's something about the loyalty of a dog that is irreplaceable.
Oh my gosh.
I
You
was getting
sound like
confused there.
Jester now.
No, once you've been around enough, I've got one laying right here. She's watches the pack. She protects a cat. They'll mouse things. They'll purr for you, which purr is amazing. But um, they call a man's best friend for a reason. They are literally something that we are not
Hmm.
worthy of. So
Hmm. And it's funny that you say that, Adega. Um, Arwen, you've heard this story before, but when you talk about the dogs, the cats purring, uh, when I first adopted Kenobi, um, I'd say about 4 or 5 months into me having him, all of a sudden he would start laying on my chest when I laid down to go to bed. He would lay on my chest, and this came out of nowhere because he's not a lap kitty. He is I
Yeah,
want to
he's
be
not.
close to you, beside you, behind your head. I want to be close to you, but I'm not going to be on you because
Yeah.
that's just not my thing. That's Kenobi in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But
Very I agree.
and he's been that way since day 1. So about 4 or 5 months into me having him, he starts to lay on my chest all the time and purr like crazy. And I'm like, what is going on? Well, I'm loving this because, oh my gosh, I get to pet you and I get to kiss you and you're my puss puss and yeah. But
You're like, what the hell?
I'm like,
Just,
it came out of
he
nowhere.
normally doesn't do that. Yeah.
And then um, I started getting really bad headaches and I used to get migraines. So I was just thinking that it was the migraines coming back. Oh, come to find out, I ended up going to the ER because it was just so bad. I could not take it anymore. It was just horrific. And come to find out, my blood pressure was through the roof. And when I say through the roof, I mean it was in stroke. They couldn't believe I didn't have a stroke because it was, I want to say, like 240 something over 220 something.
You're a
Oof.
Marine, too tough for a stroke.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they couldn't believe in the ER, they couldn't believe I wasn't having a stroke. So they immediately, took me back and hooked me up to all this stuff. But then when I got home, I was in the hospital for 3 days.
Yeah.
And when I got home, um, Kenobi never laid on my chest like that and has not since then. And I look back and I say, he was trying to tell me that there was something wrong and he was trying to fix it
With his purrs.
with his
I
purr.
believe it. When I
Yeah.
first started getting symptoms, uh, she since passed on because of course, I don't do the medical route. I've done remarkably well, but we had a cat, and she was the biggest baby. Someone had her and removed front and back claws, and a
Mm.
patient of my wife's had found her in an alley eating bugs, and she
Oh.
was she was dying because she was so skinny. Brought her home, and her other cats wouldn't get along with it, so she asked me if she could bring it home. I said sure, and she was the sweetest dang cat. But when I started getting sick, I'd have a tumor on my shoulder or here or there. Anytime I'd lay down, she went right to that spot and would
Yeah.
lay there
Wow.
instinctively. I
Mhm.
started calling her nurse cat because she always knew if it was in my hip, she'd lay on my hip.
Oh,
So
wow.
my
Yeah.
knee, she'd be on my knee. So it just, she knew.
Yeah, it's amazing that these cats especially have this sixth sense, it seems, when it comes to stuff like that. It's just amazing to me. Um, but yeah, so we kind of got off on a little tangent there, but
We
it's
did.
but sorry. Talking about cats and dogs.
Hey,
You know,
we are going with the flow of the conversation. It
mhm,
is okay.
yep. But
But I go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I'm I'm happy that I never got the jab, and I will never comply. I will never get that jab. And if they try to bring masks mandates back, I won't comply to that either. I'm not gonna do it.
Good.
I'm absolutely not gonna do it. I already have the the stuff that's needed in my body to fight off the disease, and that's how I look
Vitamin
at it.
D3, zinc,
Hmm.
vitamin
W-
C, and keep moving.
Yeah.
That's it.
What is your opinion of that, Adega? Do you think we are headed, like seriously headed towards more masks and mandates and all that, or do you think that's
Oh, they're
just
going to pull
chatter
it.
and noise?
It's a
Well, I'll
lot
tell you
bigger
what.
than just that. It's a lot bigger than that. I don't want to get
Mhm.
into all the politics about the Nazi infiltration here in the United States. I'm not going to get into
Oh,
about
yeah.
all the world politics, everything that's going on. It's all part of a process.
Mhm.
It's a matter of keeping you looking at this hand while they're doing something with this hand. So if they
Mhm.
bring it back, you better well know that they're trying to pull a fast one on you somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah, there's an election coming up. Just saying.
That's here for the States, but it serves purposes around the world.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, no, I barely complied the first time. The only reason I complied at all the first time with the mask thing was because of my job and certain businesses that I went into. They required a mask to go into that business. And, in order for me to service them, I had to have a mask on. So it's either do your job or don't do your job and don't make money. And yeah, it was one of those things. I didn't have to get the jab. Thankfully, the company that I work for is not one of these companies that said you get it or you're fired. They said, because we have more than 100 employees, we have to show the government that we told y'all to get the jab. So,
Mhm.
what our CEO did is he had us all fill out a form if we did not want to get the jab, and we could say it was for medical reasons and have medical certification, or we could claim religious reasons. And they accepted every single one of them. There is not one that was turned down. I was going to cite medical reasons, um, but I didn't have to because I'm apostolic Pentecostal. So I won't about to get that thing.
Mhm.
So I said, because I know how that jab was developed, using aborted fetus stem cells and all kinds of stuff like that, I will not get it. And they accepted it.
There
So
you
Yeah.
heard it.
thankfully, I work for a great company. They didn't question anything. I sent it in and they accepted it within a day.
See, that's I think where we're at this point with all this mess and information is do your own research
Yeah.
and look at that information and then make your own decision and then whatever you decide, know that you're taking a chance one way or the other.
Hmm.
Nothing is guaranteed in this life. So as long as you look at that information honestly, you accept it, whatever you find, whatever it is, and then you make your decision, whatever happens after that, it's kind of like, well, you at least you tried, you did the best you could do. But if you just
Hmm.
blindly go along with what you're being told, then how the hell will you know what is truth
Hmm.
and what isn't?
And
And
unless you do
that's
your own
important. We need
research,
that. Yeah, we need
yeah,
that.
because the research is not going to be done for you. We see that. We know that.
Yeah.
But you do your own research and you do deep dives and you look
Mhm.
into it. And that's how I found out how this jab was developed. And I'm like, oh, hell no. This ain't, no, no, this is not copacetic. We're not going down this road. No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm,
And that's why
no.
it's important to encourage, discourse about it.
It creates a conversation, and
It
that's what was
does.
needed. That's why when all of those, the doctors and the scientists and the nurses that were deplatformed immediately, that's what made that so wrong to me, is because they were trying to develop a conversation
Yeah.
and give us all the information. Then you could make an educated decision.
Yeah. Either
Well,
way.
that's something too. Anytime someone tries to prevent you from having information, be wary.
Yeah.
Automatically, don't trust it. Because an
Mhm.
honest person will share with you what they have.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is, it's the whole thing too. It goes back to me. This is how my brain works, y'all. So for abortions, saying my body, my choice is okay. But to get a jab, you say my body, my choice. That's not okay. It's not your. I mean, it's so freaking ridiculous. Where's the argument? It's ridiculous. It's
Hmm.
ridiculous. If you want to say my body, my choice for one thing, then it should apply to the other thing. I, y- y- color me stupid. I don't know,
Well,
but
it's a consistency of
and
thought
and not
and
only
a
that
pattern.
too, but this is my question, Adega, because I always was suspicious of this. How is it not a HIPAA violation for all of these places to ask if you've been vaxxed?
Um,
Yeah, that is a good point. That's a good question.
that's only a HIPAA violation if they reveal that information to somebody else. If you volunteer it to them for a good or service or access to some building, it's not a HIPAA violation. But if they take that information and use it for something else, that's the HIPAA violation.
Okay.
And if you give it to them, you would say, hey, I can give it to you, but we have to sign the HIPAA compliance forms.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they can refuse you service or what have you because they don't have them. Or they can let you in and just negate their asking. But no, the violation is coming when the contract, verbally or otherwise, between you and the facility or the service or what have you, is broken.
Okay. That was something I've always I've wondered, and I've never had it answered, because I thought, that's medical, that is private. If
It's
I
not
don't
private,
want
though, to be
if
honest with
I
you. As
don't
soon
want to
as
share that information, then I shouldn't have to.
you shouldn't have to, but the moment you just an afterthought, and you probably heard me talk about this on another show, but the ICD-9 codes, the new ones that came out whenever you have a condition or a procedure, what have you, for billing purposes or documentation purposes that every medical facility is using now, are shared around the world. The people
Wow.
in China know the last time you had a gynecological exam. Sorry about my phone. They know when you visited the proctologist. They know when you had dental work done.
Mm,
And they know what procedures were done. They know what prescriptions you have around the
mm,
world. That's
wow.
Obamacare. So yeah, there's no privacy left.
Wow. Yeah, I was never a fan of Obamacare to begin with, but
No,
yeah,
it's illegal.
so this I'll give y'all a good laugh real quick since it's been a little serious. So right during the height of it, I had ordered some DoorDash, right? And
Hmm.
the dasher comes up, of course, has their 20 masks on, and they are handing me my food and volunteer to me, "Oh, I've had my vaccine. I'm good." And my response to them was immediately, "I've had a colonoscopy. I'm also good." I mean, what do you say to that? I didn't ask you. I don't care if you got it or not. Why are you volunteering this information to me that's useless? So I'm going to volunteer useless information to you. Yeah, yeah.
So
I had a
you're telling
colonoscopy
me
and
you're
I'm good
probably
too. Yeah,
sterile.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
My butt is clear. Yeah. I mean, what?
You want to smell? It's clear. Mhm.
Oh my God.
Just sharing. You're sharing your vax information. I'm sharing you my butt information.
I am
Yeah,
dead. Yeah,
that's
what would
exactly
you
how I
say to that?
felt.
It's like,
That was
what?
my response. That's
Just,
what I told them. I was like, "Yeah,
you
I
know,
had a
That's brilliant.
colonoscopy and I'm good." I'm
That
it's
is
like, put it
brilliant.
down and back away from the burger. It's okay, Vax lady. I'm fine.
right,
Just give me my food.
right. Why would anybody feel it's necessary to walk up to a complete stranger
I
that you're
don't.
delivering a package to? Mind you, this person had dual masks on and gloves and gloves and volunteered that they had been vaxxed for me. And here's me with no mask and no gloves, not giving two shits. And so I just felt it was appropriate to share the results of my colonoscopy with them, since they felt the need to share that,
It's, I don't
I would have
know.
said something like, well, don't shed your spike proteins with me.
right? I mean, that
Maybe
was the first thing that came to my mind. So, I mean, colonoscopy,
they
it's
think, and this is true. Maybe some people actually think it makes you if you get the shot, it
That's what they
maybe
were
they
told.
think it turns you invincible, immune to COVID. You can't get it, and nobody can get it from you. So maybe
But
they were
that's what
doing
they
you a
were telling.
favor.
That's what they were telling everyone at first,
Yeah.
and then they quickly,
But
backed
yet they're
off of it.
still wearing 1,000 masks and gloves. If you really
Yeah.
believed that, why are you? I don't know. It's a lot of inconsistency, but I'm dead. A colonoscopy.
Well,
Here's something too, and this is where compassion comes into it, because this is true. There is a bell curve. Okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
You have your super intelligent, and you have your moronic on one end, or depending on the camera, and women tend to be right in the center. Men
Yay!
range quite wide. We'll have the really smart guys, and we'll have the sausage on the other end, and then there's the people in the middle. You're going to run into the people that are counting 16 toes, and you can't help that. You just have to have compassion. You really do, because it
Yes,
doesn't matter
I agree.
talking to them or not. It's just a matter of being compassionate.
I
They're
agree.
trying to do their best, and to be angry at them trying to do their best and someone saying they're trying to help you out, anger is not the proper response.
Yeah.
It's never the proper
Telling them
response.
you had your colonoscopy is actually hilarious, but
I know, and that's
may
why
not
I'm
be the
like,
best way to go about things.
she may have been really trying to do you a favor, a genuine favor, because she believed I don't know, but I
don't
find
know
it
either.
hysterical though. It's kind of cute, but I love your response. I can't help but love your response.
That's Arlena.
What else was I going to tell her? Yay for you.
Congratulations!
I mean,
thank you.
Thanks for
Sorry.
sharing the useless.
I clipped my
information that
toenails
I
today. You want to
didn't
see?
know, I mean,
God.
I would
I
have gotten a
just- I'm
pedicure today, but they were
dead.
closed.
I am dead. That's hysterical.
Yeah.
It was a time for sharing, I guess. Just
Yeah.
chalk it up to one of those moments of your life.
Yep.
Somebody shared
Oh
with
my
you
gosh.
something
They
completely
overshared with me.
irrelevant.
So
to
I
you.
overshared with them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Anyway. Just the main
With
thing,
tiny
y'all. Stay
aluminum foil
informed.
hats.
Stay
Right.
informed.
Oh my gosh. Yes, y'all. And by no means, if you've gotten the jab, or you feel that you want to get it, no one is judging you. The only thing that I'm
Yeah.
going to say
Yeah.
is do your research. Make sure you have all the knowledge that you can possibly have to make an informed decision.
The ones that I judge are the ones who are very aggressive about it either way.
Yeah.
You have to give human dignity.
Mhm.
That's part of being in a community. If you want things to get better, you don't attack, you persuade, you don't humiliate, you try and uplift where you can.
You have intelligent
So, and that comes on
conversations.
both sides. Yeah, and that
Yeah.
comes on both sides. But
Mhm.
because the camps for tribalism and ideology, there are some who are very, very concrete footed, and the only thing I say is take your time, and don't frustrate yourself by trying to convince, persuade, or do things in someone who doesn't or isn't ready to listen. You
Mhm.
just, it's human dignity should not be lost because somebody else is playing with your mind and your
Yeah.
body.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It's a good point.
Yeah. And if you have to have a conversation with someone, make sure that you have the facts.
Do it
The
loudly with the
symptoms.
pistol. No, I'm sorry.
Dang it! How did you know how I have conversations?
I've heard. I've seen the police record.
No, well, hey, I was a deputy for a long time, so hey. But yeah, just if you have someone like I tried that with my mom. I tried to present her the evidence. I tried to present her the facts, but she is so stuck on the news and what the news tells her, that she wouldn't listen to anything that I had to say.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you're not going to win all the battles, but at least you can do your best to present the evidence.
Yep, I agree.
No, Dave Bob. I
There you
don't
go,
know.
memes. There's the legalized dueling. Dave
Yeah.
Bob, meet me at dawn. Pistols at 20 paces.
I always wanted to get in a duel with memes about science. He's got more science behind him, but there are things I disagree about. I am one of the ones who do not believe that there are black holes or that there is dark matter. I believe it is our inability to process the information that's coming at us. We don't have the instruments to read things properly because to me, they don't make sense. And to a lot of people that I have that are more heady to me when it comes to physics and that say that they don't exist. And, I am reason enough to say that, it could be a misinterpretation and our instruments are
Interesting.
flawed.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it would always, but there's a lot of things where he gets into. I'm just going, dude, that's cool. So he doesn't
Oh,
realize I pay
Yes.
attention to it.
Oh my
No, I pay
gosh.
attention to a lot
Yes.
of his stuff.
oh yeah.
And he never knows
Oh
I'm
yeah.
there because the stealth stuff. I do it all the time. But yeah, there's fun things out there to discuss.
Hmm. And it's like me and
Now you're
Arwen
gonna
would
go
talk
right
about.
over my head. It's like I'm an intelligent guy, but I focused my intelligence onto music and into healthcare. And instead of deviating enough into the stuff where I'm really fascinated when it comes to like chemistry and physics and those type of things, I just touch the surface. So we get into it, you just go probably.
Yeah, and you know what's so funny, Adega, is a couple months back, Arwen and I were talking about that. We were talking about memes, and like I'm pretty daggone smart. My IQ is well above average, but
So
I
there's the bell
watched.
curve, and here she is. She's looking at all the morons saying, "Why aren't you hairy
I
like the rest of the monkeys?"
I watch some of meme streams, and it's just so over my head. I'm just Arwen and I were talking about. We're like, he's just
Mhm.
so freaking smart. Really,
He's so
he's
smart it
so
oozes out
smart.
his chest muscles.
Well, I've streamed with
It
him a couple of
oozes.
times, and he's always talking science, which is no secret. Science fascinates me, but it's big part because I don't really understand it. To me, I'm always coming from a metaphysical point of view. So we'll go on there, and there'll be other people on there. We've kind of talked before, and it's kind of interesting to see the science and the meta science kind of talking about the same thing. You get a different twist of perspective. But half the shit they talk about, I have no
Oh,
clue, but it's
oh my God,
fascinating.
Snorty. Jester, I hope
Squeaky
you see
clean.
that. I hope you see that, Jester.
Oh my God. Hey,
Oh my
Hang
God.
Solo.
Oh my God. Hey, Solo. Oh gosh.
Oh, you
Uh,
know it memes. You know it.
memes, we told you this. We
But
told
it's
you this months
true.
ago. It's
Yeah.
very true. You are freaking smart as hell. I just beyond me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is what it is. Was
Here's
anyone
a
oh,
side
go
note
ahead.
before we get into too much other stuff. There was during the Vietnam War a need for certain intelligence officers. People were dying of ambushes, various different things, and out in the jungles.
Mhm.
And they had known that there were certain groups of Native Americans that were able to, and I have that research somewhere. Um, they were able to sense things, and I've learned how to develop it. I know what they do because
Mhm.
I'm half Native. I was curious. Um, but they decided, all right, we're going to get some of these guys that are really good at it. We're going to put them out in the field with some of our soldiers, and it didn't work. They couldn't figure out why these guys weren't sensing the ambushes, the traps, the various different things that they could do when they're out back in their own environment. And they started asking around it, and the guy said, "You made us cut our hair." They let them grow their hair out, and everything came back. And there was some science that was done for a while. I don't know how far it went, but they're getting early results. It shows that long hair is kind of a sense organ. And since Meme has long hair, maybe he's just sensing the universe a little bit better than a lot of people.
Maybe that's it. That makes
It doesn't work on women, though. It tends to kind of scatter the brain a little bit, especially when it's red hair.
Oh, shut up, ADEGA. No one asked you. I can't argue with that. I cannot argue with that.
I'm blonde and short hair, so yes.
Oh my God.
Oh,
it is what it is, right?
All right, are we ready to wrap this up?
Yeah, any final thoughts? Anything y'all want to let anyone know, either about the topic or where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing? ADEGA?
I got a lot of books.
Uh-huh.
There's those. There's the fantasy ones. They look better than what they used to. I don't know which one you said your sister has one, right, ARWENA?
My cousin.
Your cousin. Yeah. Think about it. Someone posted something really nice yesterday about getting a book, one of the Blood Witch ones, and just with all the crap going on in the world, why not read high drama stories, whether in fantasy or sci-fi operas, and that have good people in them instead of
it's a fantastic idea.
Horrible things. So there you go.
That's a great idea.
Oh yeah, yes. And if y'all haven't, check out ADEGA's book. It's wonderful.
You need to read it instead of saying, "Oh, my cousin has it."
No.
I'll start picking on you.
No,
I still owe you because you gave me that wonderful commercial. I need to run that one again one of these days.
Don't owe me anything at ADEGA. Oh my goodness, I've told you before.
It was a great commercial. Got a lot of praise.
It was. If y'all have not seen that, you need to go see their commercial.
You should. Really you'd be surprised at how many. There were different book companies and advertisements that saw that and complimented on it and said this is the way it's supposed to be done and how can I make money off of you. That's what you get, someone says they see you have a product or you're doing something good and everyone wants to, they stick their hand out one way or another to be on the bandwagon, but it was a testament to your acting skills.
High praise.
Well, I did take drama all through high school. So.
You're still doing drama, just a different type.
Just different, yep. And I do have many voices that I can do.
Practice them on Jester. We don't need to know. Keep that, the accessories and all it. Just
no, it's just my different accents. So yes. Oh, I didn't even know it was at Barnes and Noble now. See, we got it through Amazon.
If you're gonna get my books, you can get them through Amazon for convenience. If you want them quality, same price, but Barnes and Noble are better. They're just better.
Okay. Cool.
They ship them nicer. So I've had a lot of people. I've tried to help them out, and they said, no, we want to keep it this and that. But you'll see, like the covers will be a little bit warped from the shipping with Amazon, but the feel, the weight of the paper, everything is better from Barnes and Noble.
Well, look, when I say that your book is great, I'm getting it from a great source because my cousin is also a writer and has also written books. So she knows what she's talking about, and I trust her.
Oh, well, I appreciate that very much. Tell her thank you.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. So, ADEGA, we know you got next Thursday night with Loki, right? Anything else other than that?
I do chapter releases on my YouTube channel once a week. Sometimes more than that. I used to do a lot, but I kind of slowed down because I've got 2.5 books still left in my head that need to get out. And there's some ideas floating around, but I got to get those out. Basically the sci-fi one's finished, but I'm working on kind of a supplement one. and I'm debating on whether or not I'm actually going to let that one all the way out. I keep telling myself I am, and I tell myself I'm not, because it's a very, very it's a story about self-sacrifice. I don't want to give anything away, but it's and those of you who are religious will see the implications. It's horrendously impactful in my mind anyway, and I hope it is for others. The Reach is almost out. That is one I know neither one of you paid much attention to that one, but I had gotten more people tell me that that was one of the best stories they've ever heard in their life than anything I've ever done.
Wow.
So that one, we're getting that one ready. Hopefully in the next few months, it'll be out. It's a
Nice.
standalone, and it is unique. I tried to make it unlike anything that is out there, and from what everybody's told me, it is. You can hear it. It inspired my friend Alan Co.8G to do a whole set of music on it. And if you go to my playlists on my YouTube channel, you look up The Reach, and there's only 2 videos. There's the prologue, and then there's his music. And you got almost an hour's worth of music that will just, if you want to meditate in something that'll bring emotions out of you. How he did it, I don't know. We work on the same wavelength, but he said something you're writing is very special. And then this stuff just started coming out. So I would recommend, when you got time, to just plug it in and listen to it.
Yes.
Dave, I think you listened to all The Reach too, didn't you? I'm pretty sure you did. But it's been, I think, everyone says why they're here on YouTube and why they do things. Since I can't work, I think this is coming on here and working with people like you, with Loki, being able to share thoughts is probably one of the more rewarding things I've ever been blessed with. Except for years ago when I played music, when people could hear my soul more than any other thing that I've ever done. Music was probably the most exposed that I've ever been. And but this is wonderful, and I sincerely mean it, that I appreciate you thinking of me when something like this comes up and inviting me on to be able to help, because that's what I like to do, and I deeply appreciate it. Seriously.
Oh, absolutely. We loved having you.
Yes,
Absolutely loved it. And we were talking the last couple of days. We've been like, oh, I'm so excited for Friday night. I'm so excited for Friday. ADEGA's coming.
Thank you so much for being here. Seriously.
Yes, thank you.
This has been eye-opening, informative, and entertaining. And see, we're not villains. You survived.
Well, yeah.
I'm going to go vomit right after this.
Oh my God. Well, on that note, I guess we will see y'all tomorrow night on BackTube, 6 o'clock Eastern, real time. All right. Well, we're out of here, y'all. Thank you again, ADEGA. Anytime, open invitation. We love y'all so much. Y'all in chat, y'all have a good night. And we're going to do the intro as an outro, and we will talk to y'all later. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.